Okay, removal of the spindle on a 1979 Vet rear spindle. I pulled everything off the back of it, took all the bolts out, got this off, took the U-joint out, all that, got this all apart, got it down to the spindle. In order to get the spindle out, I did what you wasn't supposed to, which just nuts on there with a cotter pin. As you can tell from the nut, it's pretty mushroomed out, but I would run it all the way down flush, put a board on there, and just wailed on it until I could drive it out of there. And then I went and bought another nut, which is this one right here. I bought it at O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Same nut, $2. And I came home, filed these threads to where any damaged threads look good, loaded it up with anti-seize, clamped it in a vise, and then ran this nut on there just slow and easy, back and forth, just like I was cutting threads with a tap. Anyways, once I got this out, I got it cleaned up. The inner bearing, of course, was still on there. I did not have a bearing removal tool. It's like $60 or something. Didn't have the money to buy that. So what I did is I took a 5-in-1 tool and I ran this on the grinding wheel just a little bit, just put a little bit of an edge to it, not very much. I slipped it in here like so, and as you can see, it fits the shaft pretty good. And I just tapped it down and I just worked it around slow and easy. And as I came up, I had a bigger gap, of course, and then I just I had a bunch of little scrap metal shims, 1/8 of an inch, 3/16, all the way up to 1/4 inch, and I just kept tapping them in there gently until I got up to like a 1/4 inch, and then I used a piece of aluminum bar and I just tapped it in there the whole time, just being super careful not to damage the spindle. And eventually it just popped off. So, got that off. That's one way to do it. Now, if you look, you'll see where it says that you're supposed to put all this in. If you want to take off your caliper, take off your whole hub assembly, throw it in a vise, and set up your rear spindle, feel free to do that. Me, I don't want to bleed the brakes all out and all that, so I did it with it on the car. And what I did is, once I had all this out, got to digging around and where I could find this shaft here. I got lucky. I had this shaft right here, which is out of a swing arm on a motorcycle. I used to build bikes, so I had it laying around. Where are you going to get one? I don't know. It's a 3/4 thread, and it's basically, 7/8 thread. It's about 3/4, and it's got some machining to it to fit bearings for a bike on the swing arm. But it works pretty good because this slides on there nice and loose. So does this. So what I did is, once I got these all off, is I did a little measuring and figured out what I needed to be on the inside, and then cut it a little bit short. And so what I do is take your I guess would be your inner bearing, and I welded this washer on here. I just tacked it on here, just like so. Drop that on there like so. And as you can see, it's kind of sloppy. Wait. There's your race coupling, whatever you want to call it. There's this shim that you're supposed to mic, and if you need to, you have to get a thicker one or a thinner one. So drop that all on there, drop that on there. Here's your other bearing. What I did is I took a piece of copper. Look at that. And I put O-rings on it. And if I drop that copper in there and I get it to sit around them bearings, it's not perfect, no, but it's good for what I'm doing. Then you take your bearing, and I put this O-ring on there, and I squeeze that down on that O-ring. It's not interfering between the gap, so it's okay. Washer, I bought at Menards or, I don't know, some farm store, because I didn't have to drill it out or nothing. It was the right size. fits down on there. It goes completely over the shaft and it fits the race. Then I have the nut that come with the shaft, and I can run that all the way down on there. It's fine thread, of course, which I don't like, but whatever. Anyways, put that all in there, and I can snug that up, and as you can see, that's tight. And the bearings, they spin freely. Everything's sitting on the races like it's supposed to. So then, take this off. Come on. A lot of threads, a lot of threads, a lot of threads. Take that off. Take this off. Just like that. You take this over to your car. I'll see if I can show you here. And as you can see, I left the spindle on. And I got all that cleaned out in there. It's relatively clean. So then you just take this and you run it in from the back, just like so. Hope I'm getting all that. Just like that. And you can feel it kind of sitting in the race in there. Just kind of balance it. Don't be a dummy and forget the parts like I did. There's my copper, my ring, and my nut. Here we go. So then, let's see if I can set this camera up here. There we go. Get that light out of it. I think that's a little better there. So then, like I said, you got that sitting in there. I go ahead and slip all this on. Give it a little jiggle, jiggle. There, as you can see, it goes right in there. There's my washer. Here's the nut. And I run that all the way down. And with that shaft being the way it is, it gives you something to hold on to in the back. I try to get that washer kind of somewhat centered up so I get a nice even bite. You know? Alright, got that good and snug. Now, in the book it calls for 1 to 8 thousandths of an inch of play. Me moving this right now, I have 0 play. 0. So that's with these bearings sitting in the races all the way. That's good and tight. There's no play in that at all. Now, you could set up your micrometer and you can read that, but I could tell you right now there's 0 play in that. So I'm going to call it good. The racers were in good shape. The bearings were in good shape. I didn't damage anything taking it off. So I'm going to grease that up and put that all back together. Now you can buy that shaft for about $175 at, it's called Grumpy's Corvette. If you look that up, you'll find it. And he'll even give you a blueprint of the shaft on the pictures. And if you know somebody at a machine shop, you can have somebody make you one. But like I said, I just used a sway arm shaft out of a chopper that I had, and it worked out pretty good. So try to save you some money. And that's how I got the inner bearing off. The other bearing, of course, fell off when you beat the spindle out. So I'll put all this back in, you know, grease it all up and everything, and should be good to go. I'll move on to the other side. Thanks.